Welcome to A Styled Life, the podcast for purpose-led female founders and senior leaders ready to use style as a powerful tool for confidence, impact and influence. I'm your host, Alex Standley, multi-award-winning personal stylist, speaker and sustainable fashion consultant with 2 decades of experience in the fast-paced world of fashion. Join me as we redefine success from the inside out. This podcast isn't just about clothes. It's about personal power, purposeful style, and creating a life that aligns with your values. So whether you're running a business, leading a movement, or stepping into your next chapter, you're in the right place. Each week, we'll dive into the world of personal style, sustainability, female empowerment, and living with intention through real stories, expert insights, and plenty of inspiration. Welcome to a Style Trailblazers episode of the podcast, where I'm speaking to brilliant women who are building businesses, changing conversations, and showing up powerfully in work, and now in their style too. These are my clients who went through the Style Trailblazers container to create their unique signature style, capture their mission and impact in personal brand photography, and share their story in a live gallery experience and event. So I'm really excited today to be joined by Dr. Sonia Panchal. Sonia is a highly experienced doctor and coach. She brings deep clinical expertise and a unique patient-focused approach that recognises the individual behind the illness, not just the disease. Thank you so much for being here, Sonia. I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh, well, thanks, Alex, for the invitation. It's an honour to be in their presence.
Well, we're going to start by talking all about your journey, because I think that's one of the really special things about the Style Trailblazers experience, that it's very much about you, your mission and your impact. So tell us a little bit more about you, what lights you up and what your mission is.
Okay, so, well, I'm a rheumatologist by background and I've been in the medical field for over 20 years. And I also am a functional and longevity doctor. And recently the founder of Living Beyond Autoimmune Disease, which is my passion is really, given there's over 800 million people who suffer with autoimmune disease globally.
Wow.
My work really is to help people rediscover their vitality that they feel they have lost to this disease. And so it's not just managing symptoms such as pain and fatigue, but people feel like they're trapped in their bodies and they have no opportunities and they feel their life is slipping away. And my mission is really to transform health from inside out, because I don't believe you're broken. The real you, the wholeness, the vibrancy that you are is already within you. And like health, I see style very much the same way. It's an outward reflection of the freedom and confidence you carry within. So that's just a little bit about me.
I love that. I love that your approach is really empowering. It's really holistic, because I think that can often be the problem, not just with medicine, but with any work that we do, whether it's kind of personal development or spiritual or whatever it is. You can feel sometimes like you are broken and you need fixing. And I think that's not the best mentality in terms of approaching your health and your well-being and everything else. So I love that your approach is different.
Yeah, and I think people appreciate that because they feel like the answers are outside. And they're going seeking out outside all the answers all day long, and then realizing I've tried everything. And often people come to me, and that could be in any domain of life, as you say, it doesn't have to be health. And they've looked everywhere and they're like, but I'm still, nothing's shifting, nothing's changed.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like the book, like The Alchemist, if you've ever read that. It's like the answers are within, and it's just, you might need some guidance or some help to reconnect to your true sense of who you are before you then see that the internal would dictate what happens on the external. And it's a really beautiful journey when people really start to connect to themselves.
I bet.
And I find it really fulfilling, and it helps people in so many domains, but particularly in health, because people feel like health, there's always an answer outside, and actually there doesn't always have to be. There's a role for it, but it doesn't always have to be a pill or somebody else telling you how to do things. A lot of the answers are already here.
I love that. And like you said, I think it is such a reflection of my process with style as well, because it is absolutely like all about that reconnection with yourself. And yeah, so I love that there's that connection in what we both do. So if we were to kind of rewind before you started or before we came to connect about the Style Trailblazers experience, can you tell us a little bit more about how you were feeling about your wardrobe and what wasn't working anymore? Was there a particular moment when you were like, enough's enough, like this is just not working for me, whether that's in life or in business, or you had some kind of visibility change coming up? What was that kind of need where your style really needed to evolve with you?
Yeah, and I think it's really testament to what I've just been speaking to, because I myself have walked that journey where I was looking outside for all the answers. And being a physician, a doctor, there was a certain kind of culture or persona that I felt I needed to step into. So I, particularly with my style, would be dressing, kind of safe, professional, but it really wasn't an expression of who I actually was. I'm quite fun and all, and my clothes
Yeah.
weren't really reflecting that. And I spoke about being trapped in a body. My style was making me feel a bit trapped as well. Like I had to be boxed into this particular type of individual, which then spilled out into all areas of my life. Like I was known as just the doctor in every domain. And it was like,
Yeah.
well, where's Sonia disappeared to? And it took for me to really go through so many kind of personal challenges and experiences, which were all beautifully orchestrated for this very moment that I'm sitting in front of you. And really, what happened was, I think I kind of hit kind of rock bottom, as most people do. You have to break down to break through, right?
Yeah.
So that's what happened to me. And what I realized was part of that was through my job and what I was creating with people and patients. And, like I said earlier, this whole holistic approach, the inside out approach, the whole
Yeah.
not relying on one system for health. That's when I really started to discover there's so much more in health. And that actually was showing me who I really was within myself. And what I realized then was that, well, then if I'm stepping into that because that's who I truly am and what I truly believe and want to create and impact and inspire people,
Yeah.
then my external persona needs to reflect that, because people don't know my internal. That's for me. I
Yeah.
need to then showcase that out to the world. And part of that is through your clothes and the expression and the style. And so what I realized was that my wardrobe was definitely reflecting me, my mask.
Yeah.
This was to
So
cover
true.
up the feeling of, oh, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, or I'm not sure. And so the safety was the easy part to step into, because you just put a jacket on or you put your dress on and off you go,
Yeah.
and you feel like, oh, at least I'm safe. It might not be as bright color or something, but I'm safe. And actually, when I stepped into this whole new paradigm of I'm creating this differently,
Yeah.
that's when I looked at my wardrobe and said, no, this isn't me. And if I'm going to step out into the world and be the powerful person that I am in terms of inspiring and impacting people, then my wardrobe needs to reflect that. There were also other parts of me, like being a woman and,
Yeah.
what your figure looks like and your weight and all that. Those aspects were there as well, don't get me wrong. But they weren't the driver. The driver was really the mask that I was wearing. And then I was like, I'm taking the mask off and I'm going to reveal my true self, my true
I love that.
identity.
It's so powerful and it's so true, because it's such a common thread that runs
Yeah.
through for most of the women that I work with. It is that idea of, like you said, safety. And, I'm okay if I'm kind of sat within this certain like box of criteria of like, often it's neutrals, like neutrals feel very safe, or like a very kind of particular a view of what we see as being professional often, especially if we work in male dominated environments as well. That can have a play a part as well. But like you say, it's so powerful if you can actually reflect who you are on the inside through your clothing, and people connect with that. And especially in what you do, that's so important, because you want to have that connection with people. It's such a, it's a human to human experience, and you want to have that connection. That trust is really, really important. So if you're not allowing yourself to kind of be shown as your kind of purest self, then that's almost like stopping a bit of that connection taking place.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more, because people often say, like, I come in your room and I feel calm already, or I leave feeling
Yeah.
like a different person. And that's not just the words that we speak, that's the energy and everything around you creates that. And if you're in a style that doesn't feel true to yourself, there's an energy exchange that isn't truly what you want to create in that room. And
Yeah.
people feel that. It's like anything. You have a sense of somebody before you even speak to them.
Yeah.
And your style is part of that. And so I realized that, again, the more I kind of stepped into who I was, all of those aspects started to change. And then that was reflected back to me by people going, oh, it's really, I feel really at peace with you, or I feel this, or
Mm.
I feel that. And it was like, yeah, because that's what I feel for myself inside. So
Yeah.
then I know that this style or whatever I'm creating is a
Mm.
reflection of that. And then it feels really easy and effortless and
Yeah.
joyful to
Yeah.
do what I do, because it doesn't require me to be anybody else but me.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think that's the thing. It shouldn't feel, and perhaps it does in the beginning because it's different to what we've been doing, but it shouldn't feel forced. It shouldn't
Mm.
feel, like you're stepping into somebody else's shoes. It's
Mm.
very much like, that, like we said at the beginning, that reconnection with yourself. So it's not about creating a version of you or stepping into somebody else. It's who am I at my core, and how
Yeah.
do we reflect that in our
Mm.
style? And I think that's so beautifully told through your story. And I think actually thinking about, the colors that we've ended up going with
Mm.
for your photos and all that is very much reflective of all the words that you've just used, like calm and all of those things, that trust and all of those words. And we obviously talk about that at the beginning when we're thinking about your signature style and how you want to show up and how you want to communicate, and those words are really important as part of that. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you found that experience as well? Because obviously
Mm.
part of the journey that you go through in creating your signature style is sharing quite a lot of information
Yeah,
with me,
yeah, of course.
and just talk a little bit about how you found that and what came out of it for you as well.
Yeah. Well, firstly, it was an amazing experience. I was a little bit nervous because being a woman, I have my own hang-ups about my own body. So there's always
Yeah.
that aspect like, oh, I'm not sure this is going to work, or what if
Mm,
I get dressed into something I don't like? And, but
yeah.
you very quickly put me at ease where I could firstly just express myself totally, all
Mm,
aspects of me, because I'd like to think of myself as I'm quite deep in the way I think and who
yeah.
I am, and I've got a lot of facets, and I wanted to
Yeah.
demonstrate that. I didn't want to be just the doctor,
No.
which is often where you get boxed into. And I was like, well, that's not
Yeah.
me. So I really wanted, and you really got that about me. And then also to be able to share like all my hang-ups and all my kind of areas of concern, which were
Yeah.
many. And you were just so beautifully just like, yeah, that's okay, that's all right. We'll focus here, we'll focus there. So that was
Yeah.
really nice. And what I really took away from it was like I speak about what to put into the body a lot of the time, like
Mm,
supplements or whatever it might be to help, rebalance things in the body
yeah.
from a health perspective. And it goes beyond that. And then
Mm,
you took it to a place where what do I put on my body in terms of style? So,
yeah.
and I thought that was a really beautiful, like we talk about connection, which is like one of my favorite words. And I felt
Yeah.
like that connected those two aspects, which is literally what I wanted to create with you, because I thought that really then demonstrates everything that I'm creating outside in the world. So yeah,
Yeah. I
it was
love
a
that.
really beautiful, beautiful experience. It was very effortless, which is surprising because I've done things where I've gone shopping or I've tried to work with, I haven't really worked with anyone, but I have looked at styles and then, oh, I can understand my body shape and that. And I always end up
Mm,
coming out either frustrated or really upset because I'm just like,
yeah.
oh, nothing suits me, or I can't, no clothes fit me, or nothing is right for me, and then you just go back into your own patterns and your masks, because
Definitely.
again, it's safe, isn't it? So I was stepping out into the unknown, and you literally held my hand throughout the whole process, and it was really easy and easeful. And as a consequence, the other day, it was all amazing. So yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's how I want it to feel. And I think I see my role very much being that as the expert, I can reduce all of that noise and the confusion and the overwhelm and bring it back to basics. Because like you said, like you can quite easily find all the information online now. Like we've got so much,
Mm.
too much information at the tip of our fingers, where we can find, what's my body shape, what are my colors. We've got AI now, which,
Yeah.
is, you know, a blessing and a curse in some
Yeah.
in some ways. But it gives you all of that information. So you could just go out to the shops and do it yourself. But I think the difference, as you've just described, is having somebody to just take all of that hassle out of it, out of the equation. Because even if you have got, you know, I'm a apple shape or a pear shape, and these are the kind of things that I should wear, actually then going out to the shops and figuring that out for
Mm.
yourself and knowing which are the right brands to go for and whether you should go for like standard or petite or, you know, all of those different considerations that we have to come to. A lot of women just don't have time for that because
Absolutely.
you're busy. Like I know for you, like you've got such a packed schedule. So you just don't have time to get into all of that,
Mm.
even if you wanted to. And so I think that's a really big part of the process as well.
Yeah. And I think sometimes it can also be a bit scary when you go into the shops and everything's on trend. Like
Yeah.
what's in style, what's in fashion. Like you feel a bit kind of pressure to go, what if that style or this particular fashion in this season is not right for me?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so, you know, understanding that there's classics and, you know, pieces that are kind of elegant and last a lifetime versus
Mm,
am I just on trend at the moment and is this right for me? And sometimes
yeah.
that can be difficult as well because you might find the right shape or color, but
Yeah.
actually it's still not right for you for whatever reason. And yet we
Yeah.
kind of get bombarded by the external kind of culture and
Yeah.
media and everything. This is what you must wear kind of thing. So that you did that beautifully as well.
And I think that's the really important part of your style is personal to you. And I love that kind of, it's almost like when you're making a cake and you've got all of those different elements that you bring into the mixture, because that's how I see it. Like when I'm pulling everything together, it's like, this is your personality, this is your body shape, these are your colors, these are the kind of key elements of style that you really enjoy, that light you up. And then I've got that lens where I can, you know, I've been in this industry for 20 years, so
Mm.
I know how to interpret that and still make you feel like you're relevant.
Mm.
So it's not that we're being, like you said, a slave to the trends, like just
Mm.
because this is what's in store right now. Allows you to still feel like you and for it to be timeless, but you still feel relevant because I'll make sure that it still feels kind of current and related to the trends, but it's ultimately it's a reflection of you. And I think that's why it's so important that, you know, I think sometimes when my clients see that intake form, they're like, oh my, like, this is
I at
too
the
much.
moment as well. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my goodness, I've not even thought of half of these things.
Yeah. And that's the whole point. Like it's completely getting you to think about things in a completely different way. And I've had feedback from some clients where they say, even just doing that form
Mm.
completely changed my behavior and how I was putting
Mm.
stuff together. And it just made me so much more intentional with things. And that's all part of the process as well. So now that you've been through the Style Trailblazers experience and your style started to evolve, how would you kind of describe that in terms of what it was like being part of Style Trailblazers, whether it was from the styling, and we've talked quite a bit about the
Mm.
styling, or the shoot, like how did that make you feel, or what did it reflect back to you?
Yeah, I think for me, I was a little bit nervous about the shoot because I'm one of these
Yeah, of
people that
course.
don't really like having my photo taken. If I'm being honest,
I
it's
don't
not a
think anybody does.
place. Yeah, I don't think anyone does. I particularly tend to avoid it in all aspects.
Yeah.
But so I was a little nervous when I came in, but actually, once I kind of put the clothes on, and because they were the right clothes for me,
Mm,
it just, again, it's what I speak to. It's like I just literally got connected straight away to myself. Like,
yeah.
who am I? What am I here to create? What impact am I
Mm,
making? Who am I here to inspire? Who is Sonia? And who is Sonia being in this moment? And Sonia was being Sonia. And
yeah.
it was just like, let's go. This is great. This is amazing. And so, you know, Steffi, the photographer, was absolutely brilliant, you know, makes you
Yeah.
feel at ease straight away. And before you know it, you're like posing and doing your thing without any thought that like you're in front of a camera. Like
Yeah.
it was a beautiful experience, considering this is definitely something probably out of my comfort zone. Not so much now,
Mm,
but was. Again, it takes that other layer of that part of me that I was holding on to as a bit of a mask, or something that I was living in a story about myself, and that's just disappeared, because people live in stories and then create all sorts of
Yeah.
stuff within. I mean, health is the same. There's something going on, and then there's an imbalance in your body because it's a
Mm.
reflection of either how you're thinking, or what story you're living in, or what mask you're wearing. And it was the
Mm.
same, I'm no different to anybody else. This was
Yeah.
just in this area, this domain style.
Yeah.
So I came out feeling very elated and very happy.
Love that.
And yeah, I'll definitely do it again. It's kind of yeah, it's cracked me open and gone, actually, I've got a lot more confidence in this now. I could
That's
do this again
brilliant.
quite easily without having to feel a bit of those nerves. It'd be like, it's like anything, you take the first step and then you realize, actually, that was really easy. So you can continue to take the next one and the next.
Yeah.
I suspect my wardrobe will change as a consequence, and I'll be buying a lot more classic pieces and really
Mm.
thinking about my fashion and my style a lot more. I think I was before, but I was probably scared, whereas now I'm
Yes.
confident to go and create it.
I think that's the big difference. And it's kind of like igniting that spark, isn't it? It's like we can get so hung up on our bodies, and especially as we age and as we change, and
Mm.
hormones change, and all of the things that we experience as women particularly, it can really almost cast a shadow over how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about our bodies, and therefore how we're actually showing up as well. And I think what I always want my clients to feel is, it doesn't matter what shape I am, what size I am, I can feel amazing no matter what, because ultimately we're not going to stay the same shape and size for our whole lives. It's just not realistic. And I think although that's the message we've very much been fed by society, and that really impacts how we feel about ourselves, I think once we kind of come to that realization that actually, I'm enough exactly as I am, that's the experience that I want all of my clients to feel. And it felt very much like you were in that place.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we all have, body hang-ups that we will probably continue to have for a lifetime, and they'll change, and whatever, but it's almost like that peace, and that peace of mind.
I think I would probably even reframe that I am enough to more like, I am fabulous, I am brilliant,
Yeah.
I am amazing. Because for me, the I am not good enough to I am enough just still feels like I'm stuck in something.
Know what you mean.
And so yeah, like for me it was like, I am, this is it, this is
Yeah.
amazing. And so really stepping into that, that's what I found from the experience. It's been, yeah, it's been really a real game changer for me, I would say, for sure. And those hang-ups, like you say, they're there, but I accept them. And
Yeah.
and just to kind of expand on that just a little, given the experience I had, that
Yeah.
I had an accident about 4 or 5 months ago,
Mm.
and as a consequence, my body changed. And so there were conversations that we had where I was like,
Yeah.
oh, my body's really different to what it was before this
Mm.
accident. So actually, I really don't know what's going to work for me, because even I've
Yeah.
never been in this shape before.
Yeah.
Again, it just worked out so beautifully, and I just let go of the size of the clothes, and just,
Yeah.
what does it should be, I should be in this size, or I should be in
Yes.
that size, or I used to be this size. And it's like,
Mm.
size is just a number that's man-made and made up.
Yeah.
So who cares? And that was very, dropped that quite quickly. And as a consequence, got some amazing pieces. Had I have
Mm.
not done that, I probably would never have even looked at those clothes or even tried those
So
sizes
true.
on, and would never have seen what that would have made me feel like.
Yeah, it's so liberating as well. And like you
Mm.
said, it's all of those shoulds, and it's the shoulds that keep us stuck. It's the
Yeah.
shoulds that hold us back. And yeah, the more that we can embrace, without looking, because really it's like we had conversations like that size label means nothing,
Nothing.
because we bought from a variety of different retailers, and you
Mm.
were different sizes
Mm.
depending on the different retailer. So even, you can never be a perfect size,
Yes.
whatever size you are, because you are going to be different sizing depending on the retailer that you're buying from, even.
Yeah.
So I think the more we're able to release those hang ups of a label, the more we can have fun with it, the more joy we can get. And actually, the more we can expand our style as well, because even that in itself can keep us quite restricted, like you said, because if we had just said, oh, you know, you're this one size, and we hadn't tried outside of that, we might not have found some of those amazing pieces. So
Absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
that's a really important point as well. So you touched on this a little bit in what you were just mentioning, but I'm obviously very passionate about style that feels good but also does good as well. So sustainability is a really important element. What would you say your relationship with sustainability is
Mm.
like, and when it comes to how you dress and how you shop, and has that changed as part of this experience?
Well, I'd say it's probably up leveled it again, because I think it's an evolving track anyway. And
Definitely.
for me, it's more about becoming more mindful of it,
Mm,
bringing it to the forefront, having awareness to it, and also the alignment of it, particularly with my work as
yeah,
well. If I'm telling people or guiding people more so around what's good for the inside of their body, and
yeah.
not always this drugs and not always the answer, and maybe it's this, or maybe it's food or lifestyle,
Mm,
whatever it might be, then clearly what you put on your body is just as equally important. And so
definitely.
for me, it's about becoming really intentional about that. So really concentrating on thinking, what is this piece of material? What is this fabric? What does it stand for?
Mm,
Where did it come from? Who created it? How was it created? Because
yeah,
we just very quick to wake up in the morning, put some clothes on and go.
yeah,
It's a bit like getting up in the morning and having your croissant. It's like you don't
yeah.
really think about it. It's like on automatic. But what's that
Definitely.
croissant doing for you in your internal system? What's that
Mm,
clothing doing for you when you're going out?
yeah.
And when you start to really track back and think about where everything comes from,
Mm,
I don't know about you, but then you just get this innate compassion for like where it's come from, and you're so
yeah.
privileged and honored to be even just putting it on your skin and wearing it. So for me, it's about, well, I really want to be wearing stuff where it's come from something that's ethical, sustainable, that's really,
Mm,
um, really sings to the hearts of the people that have created it.
yeah, it's really important. I think one of the things that I realize more and more as well as doing this work is that there is no perfect answer. And I think what you've said there is very much about having the right intentions. And we might not always be able to find, you know, the most ethical brand, but we're focusing on the right materials and, you know, maybe looking pre-loved or whatever it is. As long as you've got the right intentions, I always feel
Yeah.
like you can't go far wrong, because I
Yeah.
think we can really get ourselves tied up in knots about, you know, this brand doesn't have XYZ in their kind of supply chain policy, or, you
Mm.
know, the materials they
Mm.
use or whatever it is. And let's face it, none of us really have time to look in that level of detail a lot of the time anyway. So I think, as you mentioned earlier about, you know, you're really going to focus on what are those key kind of timeless
Mm.
pieces that build your dream capsule wardrobe. That in itself is such a kind of sustainable,
Mm.
intentional approach. And then obviously it's amazing if we can find those brands that do pay a living wage and, like you said, show compassion to the people that have created that product. But it's an evolution, and it's kind of like we may not always be able to do that because of size, because of shape, because of whatever those reasons are. So I think, again, it's about not beating yourself up about that,
Mm.
but having that intention. And I think,
Absolutely.
again, it's kind of like looking at it less in a black and white way and more in a kind of holistic approach to
Yeah.
sustainability as well.
Yeah. That was the word that came to my mind, holistic. Like, and I
Yeah.
think there is a shift in just generally across the world. There's a shift in the holistic component of everything in every domain in life. And we're talking about
Definitely.
style, I talk about health, but I think we're seeing it everywhere. People are just more tuned in now and a bit
Yeah.
more mindful of where things are coming from. But equally, if you don't know where it comes from, you can still be intentional, as you say,
Yeah.
about what you want to step into or what you want to create from that. Do you want to have
Mm.
this fast fashion, or are you going to look at more sustainable pieces that you personally will just keep with you for longer periods of time, and not just,
Yeah.
recycle over and over again, or become wasteful with your style, with your clothes, with anything in
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of women listening to this that are probably stepping into more visibility, whatever that looks like for them. Or they might be reinventing how they want other people to see them, which is obviously very much what we've been talking about today. So what would you say to the woman who knows that she's ready for a change, but she's not really sure where to start, or whether maybe there's just something that's kind of holding her back from doing that?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be true to myself if I don't say this first. I would look within.
Yeah.
I would look within and really become aware to what are those signals, blocks, stories,
Yeah.
barriers, boundaries that are coming up for you. Because for me, until that is not brought to the forefront and shifted and dissolved, you could go to any shop and try any clothes on, but that story or that component is always going to be there because you are always there, right? The you that is
Definitely.
you is always there. So I would say don't rush into everything straight away if you haven't really looked at what you want to create from an internal perspective. And if that
Yeah.
means shifting and dissolving things that are in the way, great. And if you're already there, then absolutely step into that and just trust what comes up. Trust
Yeah.
the kind of steps that are put in front of you and just go with the flow, because that's how I did
Yeah.
it. And it's paid dividends for me in terms of now I feel quite confident in stepping out in whatever I want to wear without worrying about whether I'm wearing a mask or what other people think.
I love that. I think it's so important. And actually, it's what I see in this work is that if people have done the work, for want of a better phrase, like if they've done a lot of that personal development and, they've really reflected on who they are and, the things that hold them back, and perhaps done coaching or therapy or whatever it is, that is such a more powerful kind of foundation for this work in terms of your style. Because if you really have got to grips with, like, I don't know, shadow work or the things that really keep you stuck, you're much more connected to who you are, and you're much less likely to kind of come up against bumps in the road, like with your style, that are really going to stop you from creating that vision of what it is that you've got for your life and for your personal brand and all of those things. And it's not to say that, obviously, we've discussed like those things do come up in doing this work, but I feel like the transformation is so much more powerful if you have done some of that inner work as well.
Yeah, I think everyone has all of that within them already. Everybody's freedom, everybody's free, everybody's
Yeah.
vital. You're healthy,
Yeah.
your love, you're all of that.
Mm.
But if we have accumulation of stuff, whether that's in health with like the things that you eat or drink or consume,
Mm.
or if it's in style where there's like, I've got a mask on, there's a story, I don't want to go out. Someone said something about me a while ago and now I'm sticking with that
Yeah.
story, then you're not allowing your true essence to shine.
No.
And so that's not freedom then. That's not
No.
lightness. That's not being you. And for me, I would say if everybody has a right to be free, to love, to have a great style, have an amazing life.
Yeah.
Just it's how much are you aware of that and how much do you want it? And some people don't. They're happy being who they're being, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There's no judgment or anything like that. But then if that's what you want, then be that. But if it
Yeah.
isn't, then really look in first, go deep and see what's there. Because trust me, when you find that and you dissolve it, it's amazing what you step into, because that is who
Yeah.
you were born to be. That is your
Yeah.
birthright. That's who you are. And so it's a travesty when I hear people feeling like they're stuck and they can't do anything, because they absolutely can. It's just they might need some guidance and stuff. And then can you imagine if everyone is just stepping out, being
Yeah.
true to who they are, true to who they are, and the styles that you would probably see and the expression you
Yeah.
would see, and everyone would just be free to be who they are, and that would create such a beautiful space for people as well. So
I
yeah.
love that. It's such a beautiful way to look at things. And I think that's ultimately what this is all about. Like, it's you at your fullest expression. And I think if I was to describe, well, all of the work that I do, but particularly this in terms of Style Trailblazers, because it was very much about stepping out of your comfort zone in terms of the visibility part of it as well. And, the photography, like we said, nobody particularly likes to have a
Yeah.
photo taken. It's quite an unnatural feeling. And then, telling your story and being in front of other people, sharing that experience. it really brings out, I think, what your fullest expression is. And I think that's really, really beautiful. And I really felt that when we did the shoot, it was like such a proud moment for me of all of you. I was almost like a proud mum, like seeing everybody, you know, and it was funny listening to some of the comments about the outfits as well, because it was kind of like hearing things being said about, you know, this was my comfort outfit and then this was the one where Alex really kind of pushed me out of my comfort
Yeah,
zone. But actually that was definitely the right thing to do, and it was feeling like that was, you know, the fullest expression of
mm,
that particular person.
yeah,
And I think that's what we've kind of said all the way through, having that guidance and having that support and almost like having somebody holding your hand through that experience, I think is really powerful.
yeah, absolutely. The guidance is the key to it, really.
Yeah, definitely. So I've loved hearing all about your story, and I think there's going to be so much for people to relate to within what you said. So to wrap up, I've got my quick fire
Okay.
questions, which
All
are
right.
just a little bit of fun. So question one, what is the item, like the one item of clothing in your wardrobe that you love the most, and why?
Oh, there's so many.
It's a really hard
It's a
question.
hard question because it's like, are we talking about winter, summer, you know? I think for me, I really like well, what shall I say? I'm not sure. Um, I have got this one dress that whenever I put it on,
Mm,
I don't know, it transports me somewhere. I feel so good in it. I feel
love
really
that.
free. It's not even a special dress. There's nothing really fancy about it.
Yeah.
It just fits perfectly and just, yeah, it just brings me to a place of real joy when I put it on. So I'd probably
Yeah.
say that dress, but like I say, I could say a lot of things and
Yeah.
a lot of clothing that I really, really connect with. That's really nice.
And I think that's important. It's about how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be like the most
No,
bright, sparkly
no.
thing. Okay. And then number two, if we opened your wardrobe right now, what would we find way too much of?
Well, that's easy.
I know the answer to this one.
Loads of dresses. Lots and lots of dresses, and that's a reflection of where I was really. So
Mm,
a dress is really easy. Like I'm quite curvy and I love a fitted dress, but
yeah.
equally when I'm not confident, you can put a big bellery dress on and it covers
Yeah.
everything and you can just
Yeah.
get away with that. And it covered all my hang-ups and everything. And yet you know, when I explored things with you, like other kind of different outfits, I was like,
Mm,
actually, I do look good in this, and I
yeah.
need more of this, and I could do with a bit more of this, and this looks all right on me, actually. Only
Yeah.
because I now know what style of that particular clothing suits me. Before I didn't
Yeah.
know, so I would just put on what's in fashion and go, "Mm,
Yeah.
no, I can never wear them. I have to just wear a dress. It's the easiest thing." So I'd say
Yeah.
I've got a million trillion dresses, but that's going to change now.
I think that's the thing as well. Like if we do try something on, whether it's and I think trousers and jeans do tend to be a sticking point for a lot of women because they are more difficult to get right depending on what your
Mm,
shape is. And like you said, you can try on one bad pair of trousers or pair of jeans and then that can put you off
yeah,
completely and then you just don't, you know, buy into it at all, and that's so restrictive in terms of your
yeah,
wardrobe. So I think it is amazing once you know, like you said, you can understand what works for your shape and then
yeah,
what to look for,
for
and
sure.
that's really powerful. Okay, and then finally, what's an outfit or trend that you look back on and think, I really regret that, I wish I hadn't worn that, and why?
Oh gosh. I just think back to my very young days and I used to wear those like boob tube things and things like that. That really did nothing for me. Just, um, yeah, I'd say as a general comment, it would be things that were in fashion that, you know, when I was younger that just really didn't suit me.
Yeah,
Anything like that. When I was young, I'd just jump on the fashion bandwagon really and go, oh, it's in fashion, so I need it. And
yeah.
then when I look back at some of those, I'm like, no, because I'm quite classic in who I am.
Mm-mm.
So that I didn't really need to do the whole you know,
No.
jump on the bandwagon. And so I would say outfits like that, but some of them were, yeah, they make you cringe when you think I'm too embarrassed to even say some of them. But yeah, I would say anything that's in fashion that didn't suit my style is
Yeah.
probably where I usually went wrong.
And that's I think that's just what you learn, isn't it, as you get
Yeah,
older, that you
yeah,
don't have to
yeah,
wear every single thing. I mean, I went to fashion university, so I was literally like doing all of those things, and I think
yeah.
I look back now and just think, oh God, I wish I hadn't worn that. But I think it's part of it. It's part of
Yeah,
finding yourself and
absolutely,
finding what does bring you joy and like what does work for you. So I think
absolutely,
we've got to go through those stages of life.
absolutely.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing your story with us and taking the time to share all of that. It's been such a joy to hear like more about, you know, what you've got out of the experience and what your mission is, which I'm sure a lot of people will connect with. So where can people connect with you or follow along?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm on social media. So I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn, and my website is there as well, which is www.drsoniapanchal.com, which I'm sure you'll pop in there.
Yeah,
And then there's a link to my program as well, which people can find me at. So yeah, I'm kind of
brilliant.
everywhere.
Amazing. Well, I'll pop all of the links in the show notes as well so that you can go and find Sonia and follow her amazing journey and inspiration. But thank you so much for chatting with me.
And thank you, Alex, for giving me the opportunity to really step into who I am through style. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience. Thank you.
It's been amazing to work with you. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to A Styled Life. If today's episode resonated, the best way to support the show is to share it with another trailblazer or leave a quick review. And if you're ready to align your style with your next level of impact, head to the show notes to book your free style strategy call. Because when your style aligns with your purpose, the world takes notice.